Part 2.
Coffee is refilled. 2 movies down. 1 to go. So let's wrap it up here. We're going to talk about my movie, which is a little flick from the year of our Lord, 1980, directed by Vernon Zimmerman. We're going to talk about Fade to Black. This is a movie that I always think of as an underrated underrated flick in a decade chocked full of like fan favorite horror movies. I don't see this one getting a lot of credit. Not a quintessential slasher, doesn't feel very of its time. It feels a lot more like, you know, a 70s horror flick. I mean, obviously it's early 80s, but people don't really think about it as, you know, a movie that falls into the golden age of 80s horror. But I think it's got some great performances. It's got a pretty fun little story behind it. And I don't know. It's just a film I've always enjoyed. And like I said, really a lot of it stands on one really great performance, I think, from the lead, Dennis Christopher, who plays Eric. In any case, I guess Vernon Zimmerman, not a ton of directorial credit. Like none of the other movies, like he does a movie called Unholy Rollers, which I think is, it's a roller derby movie. He's got another one called Deadhead Miles. Yeah. Which looks more like a trucker type of movie. I don't know anything else from this guy. He's got some writing credits. Yeah, I don't know much from this guy at all, but it does have a pretty damn recognizable cast. I mean, I'll call out right off the bat Dennis Christopher, who I think genre fans would probably most know him as playing Eddie from the 1990s It miniseries. Eddie, pretty memorable character, maybe less so in this as it is in the book, but he's the jokey kid, right? Right. He's the wannabe comedian kid. He also has a pretty memorable scene that he's in Django Unchained, where he is one of the guests at Candyland, you know, at the dinner scene. Yeah. He's Calvin Candy's lawyer. Yeah, he's a lawyer. That's right. I forgot he's a lawyer. Yeah, he's one of the guests there at Candyland when Christoph Waltz and Jamie Foxx's character go there for their ultimate, you know, mission. Not that I'm spoiling a movie that's a dozen years old or something, but that's such 10 at this point. Such a great film. Anyway, a fantastic fucking performance, I think, by a very hammy performance, a very chew the scenery, very theatrical performance, which makes perfect sense in regards to this character. So we'll talk about it a little bit. You have Jerry Moriarty is the character. He's the cop. It's played by Tim Thomerson, who is in plays pretty small roles in a ton of genre films. Near Dark. I mean, this is quite a Near Dark, Fade to Black, Evil Bong, Doll Man. But then he's in a bunch of like 70s. He's in Car Wash. He's in Who's Harry Crumb, which is the John Candy, often overlooked John Candy film that's fucking bizarre. Yeah. He's in Rhinestone, which stars Sylvester Stallone and Dolly Parton. Quite a combination there. Mm-hmm. You probably recognize him, although he plays quite a small part in this movie. The other kind of two. Oh, go ahead. He also in, because this is my favorite role. Okay. He plays Jack Death in the Trancers series. Okay. And whatever you may think of all the other Trancers films, the first Trancers film fucking rips so hard, and Helen Hunt is so fucking hot in that movie. Yeah. I can't explain it.
But yeah, the original Trancers film with Tim Thomerson as Jack Death. It's, I mean, hey, this is what Charles Band like really built his name off of. You know, like it's proof that Charles Band can make a good movie when he wants to.
Yeah, he can.
Is what it's like when he wants to, he can make a good movie.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, he wants to make fucking 40-minute griffs to get your fucking money to watch a movie about an evil ball.
Yeah.
But if you give him a chance, he can make a damn good movie, and that's Trancers. Trancers rips.
Yeah, and listen, Seed People, it was fine. Although he didn't make that, he just produced it.
Fair enough.
In any case, the main characters are Dennis Christopher, played by Eric, which is Dennis Christopher's character, and then we have his aunt, played by Eve Brent. It's Aunt Stella. And then I guess the other big one here to call out is Linda Carriage plays Marilyn.
Stop making me watch Linda Carriage movies.
Yeah, she does always end up kind of sliding into things, doesn't she? She was in Surf 2. I think next we might need to watch Vicious Lips from 1986. Apparently, she's in that.
I already wrote about that.
Did you? Is it good? No.
Yeah, no. I think we talked about it when we were doing Surf 2. Because I just happened to accidentally watch that movie before watching Surf 2.
Okay.
Because Vicious Lips is on Tubi.
I have a feeling every single one of Linda Carriage's movies are on Tubi.
I could be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wrote up Vicious Lips on the Patreon. But yeah, it's an interesting film. It's not great, but you know. Yeah.
What about Mixed Blood from 1984? That looks okay, legit.
We can watch that.
That looks legit.
We can watch that.
There's a character in it called Juan the Bullet. I like that a lot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. If you're not on board already, now you are. Okay. Those are the main characters. This not unlike Bad Boy Lover Boy, very much a bit of a character study on a weird incel, tragic, but also murderous. So a little bit of backstory here. Eric, his mother was a Hollywood starlet of sorts. She, along with her sister, who's Aunt Stella, were part of a dancing group, I guess. And she died during childbirth, giving birth to Eric. So not only did that cut Eric's mother's career and life short, but it also completely changed the trajectory of Aunt Stella's life from a promising young starlet too, with a dancing career, to she had to start taking care of Eric, who was apparently, at least by her estimation, a difficult child, and she resents him horribly for that. She is now in she's wheelchair bound. She's got a little electric wheelchair, and Eric has a lot of social kind of issues. He is literally never not smoking. He's pretty socially awkward. He's skinny little kind of nerdy guy, but he is obsessed with film, especially like films of what we think of as like the golden age of Hollywood, right? Now they live near Hollywood. He works in a film adjacent industry, basically delivering prints, I think, of films for this kind of skeezy film distributor. And he just stays up all night every night watching movies in his bedroom, just kind of cloistering himself in his room, chain smoking, eating junk food, watching movies, which Aunt Stella, she's obviously has her own, mental health issues and is unhappy. And she puts a lot of that blame on him. But he's very knowledgeable about movies. He loves movies. He at the place he worked, he's kind of bullied, I think, generally speaking, by everyone. Kind of, he's very put upon, right?
By everyone.
Yeah, he's very put upon. But specifically, It's the characters. Let me look. It's Joey,
Richie, and Bart.
Oh, Richie and I thought it was
Bart.
Why am I seeing Bart? I'm seeing Richie and Joey. Anyway, doesn't matter. Two dickheads that work there in the warehouse. One of them, Richie, is played by a very young Mickey Rourke. And I was watching this last night with my cousin, his fiance, and my wife, and we're sitting there watching it. And I was like, "Oh, look, it's a young Mickey Rourke," and they were like, "Oh my God, he looked like that at one time." We're like, "Yes, he has. His appearance has changed dramatically several times throughout the years."
Yeah, he looks so young, and he is just obviously way before fucking all the
cocaine,
makeup, and all the cocaine, all the plastic surgery, just everything that changed his life. And God, is he fucking overacting in this?
Boy, he lays it on so thick, but he has so many good lines. And he's got his New York accent, kind of a Long Island-y type of accent. And he's like, "You fucking jerk, you fucking asshole." He just is constantly calling Eric funny insults. And there's a bunch of them that he's really feels like he's improvising, and they're so funny. He's like, "Well, you're such a fucking little jerk, and blah, 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 yeah, you fucking asshole." He just ends it with just such funny insults. I could listen to him deliver those lines all day.
Just a point of clarity about how I know Bart is the other bully in this, because on the IMDb page for the actor Hennon Chambers, his IMDb picture is literally a snap of him in the background between Richie and Eric.
So you're saying he didn't have much of a celebrated acting career beyond this movie?
No.
Yeah. But he does have a sick doom buggy, and that's all that matters.
Yep. He has a sick doom buggy. He was on an episode of Night Court as well. So.
Hell yeah. They ride around in a doom buggy. They're just like bro-y bullies, right? And so that's kind of the setup. Eric crosses paths with, he's obsessed with Marilyn Monroe. He's obsessed with James Cagney. These like classic Hollywood personalities, icons. He finds this woman who looks strikingly like Marilyn Monroe. She's from Australia. She just moved to LA. She's very naive. For some reason, she starts to kind of, I don't know, I guess, entertain him, in that he's just his defense mechanism is, I know more about movies than you. I know movie trivia. That's his whole thing. So like when he feels threatened, he just starts throwing out like, "Well, did you know this? And did you know that? And do you know?" So she, against her friend's better judgment, goes and allows him to ride her home. He rides this little it's like a little scooter, a little moped kind of thing that he delivers these film prints, to assumedly to theaters on. He drives her home. They have a little bit of they hit it off, joke, talking about movies. And she comes from a very rural environment in Australia, so she's a little bit more personable. She's not quite as worldly. She's not quite as jaded, I guess, as some of her friends in LA already are. But he does, she agrees to go on a date, and he's actually like trying to be very suave. Obviously he doesn't have much of a personality himself. He's always trying to like lean on characters from movies to like be suave and kind of debonair, but it doesn't really translate. But she thinks it's charming enough. She agrees to go to a movie with him, but she accidentally stands him up. She's just kind of like flighty and just like she's on a date with another guy. And then halfway through the date, she realizes that she agreed to go on a date with him. Meanwhile, you see Eric outside the theater just chain smoking and becoming increasingly agitated, knowing that he's getting stood up. And then this is what obviously that combined with him being picked on at work, he is starting to and Aunt Stella just like leaning into him the entire time he's home. He's starting to get more and more, teetering towards the cliff, if you will. So eventually what happens is that, he gets stood up. He's even more depressed. He's having more issues at work. He forgets to like deliver something. The boss is going off on him. And he just, again, cloisters himself in his room, watching movies. Aunt Stella comes in, is like, just kind of loses it on him, knocks down his reel-to-reel, and that sets and she's like, I want rid of all this stuff. She really goes off on him, and he, this is when he loses it. And the first kind of kill, if you will, is him. And I actually forget the movie. Oh, it's from Kiss of Death, when he shoves her down the stairs he actually shoves her down like the back, like fire escape stairs from his bedroom, in her wheelchair. And she, bounces down there. And then this is when he really has this like psychotic break, and he starts impersonating. I mean, he's already been talking like film characters and stuff, but he really leans into the whole like James Cagney voice.
He leans into Cagney the most, because he also does adopt Cagney's persona in White Heat.
Yeah, and that's like
of Cody Jarrett, but
and that's like his. This is like a bit of a reference later where he wants he bets the bullies at work that they don't know the name of James Cagney's full name of James Cagney's character from White Heat. Bets them each $20. They don't get it right, but then they basically say like, fuck you, we're not paying you. So he basically, everyone in his life who's been a shithead to him finally takes it one step too far, and then he decides to take revenge on all of them. They cheat him out of the money they owe him. The boss, kind of decidedly so, because he just didn't show up for work for several days and stole the motorcycle. The boss is a scumbag, but he also like goes off on him and fires him, and they have a whole altercation. Won't give him back his posters that are in his like office or whatever.
It's worth noting that Eric is a fuck up.
Oh, like total fuck up.
He brings a lot of it on him, like not the bullying per se, but like his relationship with his boss, he does bring it on himself, because he's constantly borrowing money, losing film, running out of gas. Like he's constantly fucking up at work if he just like paid half attention. It's hard, because Eric is not necessarily that. He's a sympathetic character in that he is obviously has like mental health issues and stuff, but he also gives like big incel vibes too. So it's he's not a character you're necessarily rooting for, but they lean in on especially the boss and the bullies as being huge pricks. So you want them to get their comeuppance, but Eric is just the instrument for that, not necessarily a super sympathetic character. Yeah, he's a sympathetic character in the sense that like it didn't have to go this way for him.
Yeah,
like if there was just like some intervention of a good thing in his life, maybe he wouldn't have turned out like this. But like, his home life is fucking terrible. Then his work life is fucking terrible, because he's getting bullied by Mickey Rourke, and then like his boss isn't showing him sympathy because he's fucking up, the one job he has. So like, there's a bunch of that piles up, and then he gets stood up by this girl that he's going to obsess about. And then even after he gets stood up by her, a prostitute turns him down. That's probably, like galling in a way of just like, even a prostitute doesn't want me.
Because he doesn't have enough money. Yeah, she's like, go fuck yourself kind of thing.
He's like, I got $10, and she's like, what are you gonna do with that? Like, so I forget what she says, but it's like something like ride the bus home or something like that. Like, you're not gonna get anywhere with me with that.
Yeah. He does eventually, like, he goes to his aunt's funeral, and he's slowly transforming from Eric into just characters. Like he's dressed like I don't even know who he's supposed to be dressed like, but it's in.
I just had Dick Tracy funeral as my note.
Yeah, he has very Dick Tracy. He's dressed as like a gangster from. I assume it's like a Cagney type of thing, but he's basically turning into this bad guy, you know, who's using these characters for revenge, and he's even put upon by the funeral people. Like there's a priest who is like, you know, the aunt didn't even get buried where he asked her to be buried, where he wanted her to be buried, and then the asshole priest is like says something to him. I think it's like he's like, well, God bless you, son, or whatever. He's like, I don't believe in God. And he's like, well, God believes in you, Eric. And then he just turns into like, gangster voice. He's doing all these scenes, right? He's very, very theatrical. He's bringing the art and his real world are becoming more and more blurred, right?
Yeah. He also had to grease the palm of the priest, because the priest was like, we couldn't get her that burial plot. But then like he, put some money in his hand to like try to get a better plot than, what there was available. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So like, even the priest is still taking bribes, like taking advantage of him and then hitting him with the, well, God believes in you, after, taking a bribe. Yeah. For a better burial plot.
Yeah. Yeah. He this is when things start to get really wild. He starts to fade into these characters. He dresses up as Dracula. He does like half of his makeup on his face and then half of his non-makeup, and then eventually does the full thing. But this is where you get the image that's on the poster, and it's obviously it's representing like him transitioning into like being a full-on character and out of his reality into his alternate reality where he's these characters. But he goes to it's a really memorable scene because he's just sitting in a theater, and everyone else is dressed up too. So I don't know if it's supposed to be around Halloween time or something, but like everyone else is dressed up. Not everyone else. Most other people in the theater are dressed up in some variety of Halloween costume, but his is so elaborate with the face paint and his full get up. But he is dressed up as Count Dracula, going to watch like, assumedly a midnight screening of Night of the Living Dead. Afterwards, on the way home, he starts following this woman, like terrorizing her. He's eventually does basically the psycho shower scene with Marilyn.
But I hated this scene.
This is a weird, disjointed scene. I don't know why it happened. It kind of is like a joke, but he busts in on her. He's all dressed like Dracula. Now, she would still probably recognize him because he doesn't have a mask on. But instead of a knife, he's got a pen, like an old ink pen. And she screams, and then it's like, he's like, I just wanted to get your autograph. And then it's the pen leaking into the drain, and it would have been in black and white. It would have looked more black. So it's like, it's a nod to that scene and the blood going down the drain. But instead of blood, it's ink. It's a weird scene. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it belongs. And it doesn't seem to translate to the rest of the movie at all.
It literally seems like an alternate take from Silence of the Hams and I was just like, that felt so tonally incorrect. Yeah. Like I would totally get behind a scene of him stalking Marilyn around her house like Dracula, like Nosferatu. Yeah. And then they cast the shadows on the wall, and like he's like menacing her, and like just menace her. Like, yeah. They don't have to interact other than like she sees him and he runs away, but like, this whole like joke interaction was just like, it took me out of it. And I'm like, and it took me a while to get back into the movie.
It's a weird scene.
It's so fucked.
It's such a weird scene. And also then like I got my things out of order, because then he does go and menace a woman.
Yeah. Then he does go, and
it's the prostitute. It's the prostitute who denied him, who shut him down earlier.
Right. And it feels like, that felt very like Martin, you know?
Yeah, of course.
It's just this kid who's running down a woman, and then like after he runs her down, she like falls through a fence, and he just he has that weird curiousness to him that he bends down and like bites her, you know, like a vampire, but he's not a vampire. So it felt very like Martin in that way. Yeah. I was like, that's cool. Why did that other dumb fuck scene happen?
Yeah, it was it was one of those scenes that it felt like the filmmaker like really for some reason had something in his head that was awesome, but then couldn't let it didn't fit tonally, contextually, but just it just shoehorned it in there.
Yeah, but just left it like, well, sorry.
Well, he does go and eventually, like you said, chases the sex worker. She falls through a fence, and in the most unfortunate fence pratfall ever, gets a piece of the razor sharp wooden fence, apparently, just jabbed through her throat. So she's dead. Yeah. And then he like touches her. He like, you know, licks the blood off his fingers, and he pretends to like bite her because again, he's sinking in further and further into these characters. This is when he's like, you know, that one was on accident, but now he's like, oh, I like, you know, I can use this to get revenge on people. So in probably the most memorable and fucking bizarre scene in the movie, and gives Mickey Rourke so much opportunity to chew the scenery. I love this scene. It's so silly. So these little death scenes, revenge death scenes, whatever you want to call them, all feel like little vignettes, and they feel like they're happening. And this is maybe my favorite part of the movie. They don't make any sense. Even the one with the shower scene makes no sense, but it feels like they're little vignettes that are, and it almost makes you question, are they actually happening like this, or is this just how they're happening in his head? Because they feel cinematic in a way the rest of the movie doesn't.
Yeah.
And so that makes me think that they're not necessarily happening like this. They're just happening like this in his head.
Yeah. I kind of wish that maybe there was a little more play with scenes being in black and white.
Sure.
Because we get that earlier in the film where, you know, Eric is making a reference to, you know, a golden age film, and it cuts to the actual film.
Oh yeah, it does it several times. Like cuts back to a bunch of James Cagney. It does it at the end. They cut back to the creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah.
So I would think maybe when he's acting out these kind of revenge, you know, in whether they're fantasies or not, when he's acting out, you know, these revenge scenarios, like if they maybe switched to black and white, or maybe switched only to black, like the staging in this scene particularly has Richie and Bart on one side of the alley and has Eric on the other side. And while we're, you know, doing shot reverse shot, you know, like Eric could be in black and white as he's, you know, in his fantasy, while, you know, Richie and the Bart are in color. And I just thought that like maybe just like showing that more melding of fantasy and reality in his mind as it gets fucking weirder and weirder for him.
Yeah, this could have been, and this was, I think, they spent some money on this film, and there's some
fucking
people
looked like it.
Yeah, there's some people involved, like in this movie. Some of the producers also in this movie were involved in Halloween, so they got some money. They just made some money, a lot of money. Yerwin Yablans was one of the producers of Halloween. He just made a tidy sum a couple of years ago, so they're putting it into this movie. I just feel like they got some good performers. I feel like they just got the wrong director. I mean, honestly, not to be harsh,
possibly,
but like, I feel like this is a great project. Probably had a really cool script. They had a great lead actor, and then they just didn't get the right director to kind of bring it to life on screen. But
so Erwin Yablans, that does explain then why in Eric's boss's office, there's a poster for Halloween and Tourist Trap. because Irwin was a producer on both.
Well, and Halloween gets referenced about 100 times in this movie. I think we see a poster about 3 times, and then at one point, Eric is, I think he's sleeping in his room or something, and you hear in the background the dialogue of Dr. Loomis talking to the sheriff about Michael.
Right. Yeah.
So it comes up quite a few times. But anyway, yeah. So the next one is he dresses up as Hopalong Cassidy with this weird, frankly, very tourist trappy mask. And his old timey, Western wear, and shoots the 2 bullies after they are laying out some great lines. They're just hanging around the like boardwalk and just like scamming the games, just like stealing stuff and just being scumbags. And then they're like, we got to go find you want to get laid or whatever. And he's like, yeah, but where do we go? And he's like, this place is crawling with coos. Great line from Mickey Rourke. But they walk down this back alley, and they get approached by this silhouette of a cowboy. Obviously, we know it's Eric dressed up as Hopalong Cassidy. Challenges Mickey Rourke to a gunfight. Throws him a cap gun, but of course he has a real gun, and just unloads it. This is why I'm like, I don't know that it happens in the same way, because how would Eric know how to do like the rapid fire, 6-shooter trick? I don't know what they call it, when they like smash the hammer down and,
right. Yeah.
He's doing that. It's like, Eric wouldn't know how to do that. You know what I mean? So I don't imagine that. Yeah, he certainly did shoot and kill the bully. Well, one bully, the other one ran away, but he doesn't necessarily, I don't think it played out in the way that in the way we're seeing on screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, it's not like we ever see him practicing with the gun or anything like that.
Yeah.
This was very spur of the moment.
We see him like holding the gun when he's like looking at the mask. But yeah, just nothing about Eric's character would make him think that he would be some sort of like sharpshooter or something,
Yeah.
Anyway, and also the quality of his makeup and everything is always so good. It's like movie quality that you just assume it's actually him with like a couple bandages wrapped around his face, just terrorizing somebody. I don't know. Who knows? But
who knows?
That's interesting to see in the next one. We'll talk about that one because that's like my favorite scene in the movie. But shoots him down, and then walks off. And also, no one shows up, even though the whole thing takes forever and there's tons of gunshots, and they're right off the boardwalk. No one shows up. There's no sirens. Right. There's no bystanders. It's just like a foggy. It looks like a movie set, right?
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of like, it's heavily backlit on Eric, and there's a bunch of smoke billowing up behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like a movie.
Then he does, this is my favorite one, where he goes to his bosses, because the boss is there working late at night, trying to fix all the shit that Eric fucked up with some invoices. There's a funny little interaction with like the old security guard that goes to get coffee. Eric shows up dressed as the Mummy in like full movie quality makeup and scares the boss to death, literally makes him have a heart attack. You see him earlier. He's got the classic trope of like, I need my heart pills, which I love that trope. I don't know where it comes from. I'm sure there is, like, I don't know anything about heart medication, but apparently there is at one point there was a thing where if somebody starts having a heart attack, they hurry up and take a pill and it stops the heart attack. Like, I love that trope.
Yeah, it was wasn't it always nitroglycerin tablets? I feel
for
like, heart?
But then nitroglycerin I thought was just like some sort of explosive. Like, isn't nitroglycerin?
Well, yeah,
like-
it can be. It can be, but they definitely use nitroglycerin.
Yeah,
as is for like heart, heart palpitations and shit like that.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I don't know that it was that fast acting. And I don't think they prescribe it anymore. I don't know. Go ask your doctor wife.
Yeah, she'll probably know. But I love the idea of him like, oh no, I'm getting scared to death. Better take one of my pills. And then Eric's like kicks the pills away from him and he dies. It's and he literally just laughs and laughs.
I love that character in general though, because he had a Hunter S. Thompson energy to him when he's yelling at Eric and running him down, especially the scene where Eric comes back to like get his posters and stuff out of the warehouse. And he's like, you get out of here, you little bastard.
Yeah. And he's also
and
like,
he's like
threatening with like a wet sandwich.
Yeah. He's threatening him with a wet sandwich. He's choking. He's sputtering. And like, it just feels like he should have just been punctuating. Like he's calling him a little bastard, but it also felt like, because he's yelling at him through gritted teeth, the way Hunter Thompson would like hold a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah.
It just also felt like he should be like, you slime, you louse, get out of here.
Yeah. Such a great character. He's funny too. Between him and the bullies, they were maybe my two favorite side characters. But so there's this scene where he randomly gets picked up hitchhiking. This guy in like this old timey goddamn Gotham City looking ass car. And it turns out he's like a film producer and Eric recognizes him. He's an actor. He's now a famous film producer. Eric tells him about a movie for, a movie idea. And the guy is very receptive and you're like, oh, things are looking up for Eric. He's like, call me at my studio and, we'll talk more. I like this idea. You've got promise, blah, blah, blah. And turns out the guy just steals the idea 100%, goes and literally makes the movie. Eric sees him on TV, is really excited because he's talking about the new project. It's got the same name. And he's like, oh, he's going to give me credit. He's going to give me credit. And then he doesn't. And Eric's really pissed off. And that's when he shows up as Cody Jarrett, like in full Cody Jarrett, white heat garb, walks into the barber shop, which feels like a mob hit location. And pulls out a Tommy gun, which they think is fake, but is a literal real. Where do you get a real literal Tommy gun? Who knows?
Who fucking knows?
And just sprays him down at the barber shop and kills him.
Army surplus.
Yeah, I guess. That's where they have Tommy guns, I guess. You're getting the doctor who's I don't know, he's a detective or he's a doctor. I'm not sure, but he
feels like an early version of a criminal profiler before it
he's
became
not a
like
cop.
No, he is specifically like a psychological, directed doctor, and he's brought in as like a criminal profiler against kind of the wishes of the police chief, and it was like, okay, like I don't know, it doesn't make sense why he's brought in the beginning. But now he's here, so they have a use for him, and he's like trying to track down Eric with the help of his like the female police officer who does accept him. Yeah.
There's scene where he's doing the harmonica solo and doing coke in the office. It's like such a wild scene.
It's like every time we cut to him, he's always just doing like. Tim Thomerson's great. So he's just doing shit. Like he's doing coke. He's banging his fucking coworker. Yeah. I had a note in there about like we cut to them at one point and they're just they're under the sheets in maybe it's a hotel room, maybe it's not. Yeah. But like they're under the sheets together and then like they pop up and he has a fucking box of Ritz that was under the covers with him. I was like, I don't know about the Ritz kink. What was that?
Well, he's got like they come out from underneath the sheets. Classic, like do it that like they had both simultaneously. Just it's when you would see stuff in a movie when you were a kid and you thought like adults under the sheets were just wrestling because they're just tumbling around under the sheets. Yeah. But the assumption is that they both just simultaneously orgasmed and then they pop up with cigarettes. but he's holding like a bottle of champagne and a box of Ritz crackers. You're like, what the fuck is happening? You guys just having a damn party under there? What is happening?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Also, the woman playing the partner is Gwen Guilford.
Okay.
Which, yeah, you might recognize her. She was in that, I believe it's The Revenge of the Blob, the one with Larry Hagman in it.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I found out even more interesting. Her son is Chris Pine.
No shit.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, yeah. She married Rich Pine, and like so. Yeah, her son is Chris Pine. I was like, oh, okay, interesting.
That's a weird connection. Yeah. So ultimately, Eric is like luring Marilyn to, this photography studio where he very willingly, or not willingly, the least careful drugging of anyone I've ever seen. He's like pouring champagne into glasses, and he drops two, I don't know, supposed to be roofies or something into a glass of like 3 ounces of champagne, and he drops them in like Alka-Seltzers, and they're like not even dissolved. He's like, here you go. She's like, thanks for the drugs. Yum, 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 yum.
Yum.
Yeah, just takes it down. He's constantly just giving her more drugs, but then later gives her like a drug, like an anti-drug, like antidote. I don't know. Marilyn is very on board for all this. I understand why they had to like make it so he drugged her, because she's like kind of along for some wacky stuff, and she's that otherwise wouldn't have made sense. But the drugging of it felt a little forced. But anyway, apparently this is from, which I don't think I've ever seen this movie, but he's like kind of reenacting the scene from The Prince and the Showgirl from 1957, which eventually he takes Marilyn up to the roof of Mann's Chinese Theater in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this, this big scene where he's like making his stand and the world's against me and blah, blah, blah. He's standing on the edge of the theater. There's 90 snipers around him, because they're chasing him. Moriarty, the doctor, the Ritz loving party doctor, shows up right with the cop and is like, he's here. We're gonna go find him. Oh no, look, there he is. He's on the top of Mann's Chinese Theater, and the cops are there. There's a lot of confusion, and I'll say like a bit of a power struggle between like the cops and Dr. Moriarty / his the female officer. So there's a lot of confusion, and they're like, no, we want to shoot this guy. And he's actually, the doctor is like really, I would say maybe even overly empathetic towards Eric, because he has murdered multiple people, and he's like, he's just misunderstood. Like
it's overly empathetic for never really interacting with Eric.
No.
Like he doesn't know him at all. He's just chasing a murderer through Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we see the disconnect between Los Angeles and New York, because in New York, when you lure a woman to your fake photo studio and do weird pictures with her, a cop will just look in a window and blow your head off.
Right.
Whereas, when Eric lures a woman to his fake photo studio, the cops barge in and allow him to escape.
Well, James in the Discord just made a great point, which I forgot to mention. He has also shot Dr. Moriarty in the kneecap already.
Yeah, he's already kneecapped him, and he's hobbling around the outside of the Chinese theater.
Because when they're doing the photo shoot with Marilyn, him and the female cop bust in, and he just blasts the doctor in the knee, which then they drive to Mann's Chinese Theater. Instead of going to the hospital because I just got my kneecap exploded, he's like, all right, let's follow that car. Get him. Yeah, so he's very considerate of Eric, especially knowing the fact that he just shot him in the kneecap. But anyway, there's always, when you got a lot of snipers trained on you, one of them's going to be trigger happy, shoots Eric, who is 120 pounds soaking wet. He's so skinny. In that Hopalong Cassidy scene, when he's got like his gun belt cinched tight, you're like, this dude has like a 26-inch waist. Like he is so thin, rail thin. So for him to get shot in the chest from literally like 30 yards with like a 30
with a long rifle,
dude would be, his chest cavity just got exploded. But he's just like, they shot me. And he's just going on and doing these, like, he's climbing things. He's being very theatrical. And you get the feeling that he's like almost enjoying this. This is his big climactic end scene. And of course is going to be the end scene of his life, because he's going to die at this point too. He climbs to the top and reenacts the death scene. We know this if you've seen White Heat, how James Cagney's character dies, riddled with bullets, falls from the top, in this instance of Man's Chinese Theater. And that's how it ends. So, climactic scene. We kind of all knew that was how it was going to end, especially when he's like obsessed with James Cagney and specifically Cody Jarrett character. You kind of knew from the very beginning how this movie was going to end. But I love the weird character study where he's not a good guy. He's not 100% a bad guy, but then he starts murdering people. Not terrifically unlike Albert, where you're like, this guy's not cool. Like he is jerking off in the hot dog stand. Like he's not cool, but he's not a bad guy. Oh wait, no, he's a bad guy now. But he's also very put upon. So similar characters there. But I just thought such a bizarre movie, the older I get and the more jaded in genre films I get, the more I like kind of badly put together films that don't really work because you don't know what's going to happen. And if a movie's too well made, you kind of can guess what's happening a little bit.
Yeah. Like that. Yeah. Current modern films that you would see in a theater, anything like a Marvel film or even, like a Michael Bay film, you can kind of just plot them out. Yeah. Like beat by beat, like, what's going to happen. Like there's little to no surprise in any film like that. Yeah. But you watch a film like this and like, okay, granted, I hated that shower scene, but it surprised me because I didn't know why we just took a sudden left turn into slapstick silly town.
Yeah. And it's like, and even compared to Murder Party, and I'm not going to sit here and say that this movie is better than Murder Party because I don't think it is. But, but I will say that I kind of knew where Murder Party was going because it's like these filmmakers are too competent. You know what I mean? This is too good of a movie. These people are too competent. They're able to put the puzzle together. I mean, using your analogy of the 8-piece horse puzzle, they're able to make it so it's a picture of a horse at the end. But the director of this movie, it's like he got to the end and there was like a piece out of place. And he was like, "Fuck, all right,
yes,
who did this? Put it in the can. Put it in the can."
We ain't got the time. Gotta put it in the can.
Yeah, which I appreciate and like because I don't know what is that? It's a picture of a horse? I don't fucking know. It's a picture of something kind of like a horse. So that's like I said, underappreciated movie. I think that was in a very transitional time in genre filmmaking that was of an earlier time, but when something different like 78 Halloween came out, it's actually really funny that like, because this is not a slasher film, right? No, but it's so funny for someone to make a fortune in a slasher movie and then decide to make this movie or fund this movie. It's like, that seems like a real misstep. But fine, sure, whatever. Like, I don't know that this movie did particularly well. It also has a fine title, but not a memorable title. So when you just Google Fade to Black, it's like there is obviously a very famous song. And there's also like 9 other movies and TV shows with very similar titles. It's just not a particularly standout title, which we talk about all the time in genre films. It has to have a weird title. Yeah,
it's got to pop in some way. I think. I mean, again, okay, so this was released in 1980, so okay, it predates Metallica. It should. I think it's more of a victim of the time, just
agreed.
over time, because the all the film references in this are all Golden Age films, and so I didn't even get all of them,
same.
But you have to have like a background in like really old film to appreciate all the references this film is going for. So I feel like probably at the time this played really well to an audience of like cusp, like kind of, I don't know, boomers and
people who were in their 30s and 40s. This probably would have made a lot of sense in 1980.
Yeah, so it's probably really good
watching for that. Especially Creature from the Black Lagoon. That was a late Universal, 50s Universal sci-fi movie. I think just in the way that it's remembered and how, listen, I wasn't born in 1980, so like I would have never known any reference to it. But like now, the fact that I think people who are into genre now don't think about it, and it still sits there are a lot more movies that are way more beloved genre films that are not nearly this good now. And I think it's because this one gets buried for the aforementioned reasons.
Yeah, it's just very of its time. But I don't think that's terrible. Like if you're a person who's really interested in film, you'll eventually come across the other stuff, or even be enticed to go back to the films that this movie is referencing.
Yeah. And James, who's, like I said, selected Bag Boy Lover Boy in the Discord chat, said his movie has a bad title too, which I would agree. Bag Boy Lover Boy.
I wouldn't.
Bad title, but memorable. I think it's more memorable. And for that reason, it's probably a better title.
Yeah. I don't think it tells you anything about what the fuck you're about to watch, but there's no title that could tell you what you're about to watch, like Dirty Hot Dog Strangler, maybe.
Well, it actually, speaking of Dirty Strangler, it did give me at moments, but not nearly as slapstick or funny, give you a little bit of Greasy Strangler vibes at times.
A little bit, yeah.
With with like the cringe core kind of element, but not as funny, not meant to be as funny, but. No, when I saw the title and you sent it to me, I was like, do I know what this movie is? Which I didn't. And I was like, I thought it was going to be about like a bag boy, like someone like working at a grocery store, like I worked as a bag boy as a teenager. That's kind of what I was imagining. But nope, Dirty Hot Dog Boy. Dirty Hot Dog Boy.
Dirty Hot Dog Strangler.
That would have been the Dirty Hot Dog Strangler. That's a great title. That's a quality title.
No, everybody will know that.
All right. Well, here we are at the end of our showdown. So it is time to vote. Steven, you got to choose the order in which we talked about the movies. You get to choose the order in which we vote. So what are you thinking?
I'm going to let you vote first. I think this is... I think I might know which way this might go, because I mean, we always have to kind of when we do the patron showdowns, we usually wind up going to a more public Instagram vote. But
yeah.
You go ahead, you cast your first vote, and we'll see where we go from there.
All right. Listen, for the sake of consistency here, I do really like Fade to Black. I'm gonna pick this as a really unique, weird movie, and I stand by my pick. 1980s Fade to Black. Although I've kind of telegraphed my vote here. I did like Bag Boy Lover Boy. I enjoyed like I said, I watched over two viewings, and that was probably more just being exhausted from work. But I found myself enjoying it. Didn't make me feel good, I will say. Not a feel good movie, but an interesting one. And I love when we get deep cut movies that I've never seen before. And this was an interesting one, and I did enjoy the third act quite a bit. that being said, Murder Party is a movie that absolutely punches above its weight class. And a rewatchable movie. I'm never going to watch Bad Boy Lover Boy again, probably.
Probably not.
Murder Party, that's my second viewing. I think I even enjoyed it more upon my second viewing and could absolutely see myself watching this, every 2 or 3 years. So really enjoyable, funny, and like I said, although more predictable, I think that's at least for my personal taste, a bit of I guess it demotes it just slightly. It's just a infinitely better made movie and better acted movie. Although I would submit that it would benefit from some Mickey Rourke. That's my only note. But I am going to pick. I am going to vote for Murder Party.
Sure. I don't know. I struggled with what I wanted to pick because I really was surprised by Bad Boy Lover Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was surprised that it was just a film I'd never heard of, and it captured so many different things that I enjoy. Of it's a greasy, grimy New York,
mm-hmm.
probably guerrilla style shot in some points.
Mm-hmm.
Has that Frank Henenlotter. I don't think I would ever watch this movie again unless I'm programming a double feature at a theater, in which I would program it against Frankenhooker or Basket Case, just so you can see true grimy 80s New York with the way they actually grabbed a little bit of that in 2014.
Sure.
But yeah. Fade to Black it just has better performances. It's a weirder story, even though there's one scene I absolutely hate.
It was funny. I was watching this last night because I seen it a couple times before, but I just watched it last night after I selected it for this, obviously.
Yeah.
And haven't seen it in a couple of years, maybe a few years. And I'm watching it and I was just thinking to myself, Steve's going to hate this. I was like, I don't think Steve's going to like this as much as I thought he was going to.
Yeah. I think they're both flawed in a lot of ways, but I think Fade to Black is more rich in what it can offer. So yeah, Murder Party is my first vote, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Fade to Black has more value to a wide audience,
mm-hmm.
whereas Bad Boy Lover Boy is only valuable to scumbags like me who are just yeah, he's eating the hot dogs again in the dirty room.
He's jerking off in the same place he's eating hot dogs.
Yeah. So yeah, it just, if there was a Mickey Rourke level performance in Bad Boy Lover Boy, I would give it to that. But the way Mickey Rourke chose the scene for no fucking reason other than to sell himself, which obviously worked.
Sure. Yeah, he's just a shining beacon in the scenes that he's in. Yeah.
Yeah, just in the one scene where he's fucking bullying him and Eric is betting him and Rourke is turning away from the camera and he's just knocking on the table and he's just you know what, Eric? I'll tell you what. He's what are you doing? Just get through your lines. You're not the star. Move it along, bud.
No, in his mind, he was 100% the star. Yeah. And it paid
and
off.
That rules. And that rules because it made the cut.
Yeah.
So it looks look, Dan in the chat did say that he would vote. He voted for Murder Party.
Okay.
Dan said that.
Dan said that.
I'm just saying. Usually we take it to a more public vote, and we still will.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Steve. For those of you who are not in the Discord, Steve, he's just doing that I can't help it shrug. Sorry, that's what's happening.
Look, according to the patrons, I already won, but I will take it to a public vote.
All right.
But I've just put the asterisks in there that I did win.
You could tell that.
In my mind, I already won.
Yeah.
And see, James right now is also chiming in. He says he sticks with his film, obviously, first, but
yeah, listen,
he says Murder Party wins. You know?
I'd be lying if I said that I did not think Murder Party was a better movie. I already said that, but gotta be fair. Put it in the hands of the patrons. All right, they all get a say, and you know what? Crazier things have happened. Fade to Black could pull it out. It's
I don't want to be overconfident.
Yeah.
And say that I'm probably going to win the vote, but I just don't know what the what is the public recognition of Fade to Black?
Yeah. I think people recognize the poster, and I think Murder Party is a little bit of an under the radar one. But I don't know. We shall see. All right. So on our next mini-sode, not only will we reveal who has won the showdown, but we will also, one of us, whoever wins, Steven or myself, will be prepared with a punishment episode. So you can obviously go vote on the social medias if you are a patron. If you're not, you probably should be. Spooky season's coming upon us. We always do a lot of fun little extras and things like that. We do some really fun Halloween episodes. So if you're thinking about subscribing, do that. And also, if you haven't already and you don't have 5 didgeridoos to give us, go over to the wherever you're listening to this now, on your Apple Podcasts or your Spotify's or whatever, and review it. Takes like 2 seconds, and it'll help get a lot more eyes on our podcast come spooky season. Okay. Anything else, Stephen, before we leave this cliffhanger?
See, anything in my notes? When his mom/aunt Stella comes in right before she wrecks everything.
Yeah.
She's interrupting one of his movies, and Eric hits her with the shut up.
Shut up. Shut up.
Shut up.
Yeah. Great one. Yep. Eric takes, he steals the show. Maybe is it enough? We shall see. All right. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm Steve, who already won because I'm the champ.
Shut up. Shut up.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Bye. See ya.